right? So reports and dashboards, we're going to talk, as I told you, report is most of the times either a subset of the data or a summary of the data. Subset of the data is, for example, you have all the data. Let's say you have all the data for last 5 years in your system, and you decide to take out a report last month. So that's going to be a subset. So you have 5 years data. Out of that 5 years data, you're just taking out 1 month's data to figure out last month how did you perform or whatever. Same way, most of the times reporting is done on small chunk of the data or a subset of the data. It's not always done on the entire set of data, right? So a lot of times we do data analysis or a reporting for, let's say, a particular quarter or for one financial year or one financial quarter. Sometimes we do reporting every month or every week to understand how or to compare the performance of the company or the sales, whatever, customer support on a regular basis, or to do an analysis how the company has performed in a particular month, or how the clients have responded to the company's campaigns, or whatever things they want to understand. So that is the subset part. Sometimes even the subset of the data is a big set. Big set means let's say in 1 month you have got 1000 deals, or you have got 1000 leads or inquiries or whatever, right? Or 2000 or 5000. So there are too many data points. Sometimes in the subset as well there are too many data points. Now for you to make out something, you cannot understand anything if you have too many data points. For example, if you want to understand, for example, we are talking about this laptop company. For example, there is a laptop company and or a mobile company, let's say Samsung. Samsung now wants to understand that how did they do in India last 3 months. Okay. Now, if someone from Samsung actually creates a list of all the people who purchased Samsung mobile in India in last 3 months and gives it to them, then okay, fine, this is here the list is. Now, the company cannot make out anything from that complete list, though it has a lot of information inside it, but that data set will not give anything, right? They will just see a long list of people who have purchased the mobile. So it can be 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. Now the problem is that how do they understand, or how do they come out with a solution out of it? So that is where they will need to do a summary of this data. So they have to summarize the data in some form. For example, they just try to summarize that, okay, when out of the entire list, how many of them purchased which model, and how many purchases happened in which particular city. So these are the kind of summaries that they can do, right? So group the data in some format and figure out, so that they can understand which city more mobiles are selling in which month, and which model is selling more in which city. So so that they can get some idea on that part, right? So that is where we talk about the summary side of it. So either a subset or summary of the data is what report is. Now I also told you about the dashboard. Dashboard has got to more to do with the graphic side of it. Dashboard is basically collection of reports. When we talk about dashboard, it's not a single report, it's a collection of reports, multiple reports put together. So that is what a dashboard is. So I'll come and talk on the dashboard as well a little later. Okay. So reports and dashboards. Understanding reports. A report returns a set of records that meet certain criteria and displays it in organized rows and columns. Okay. So this is what Salesforce has to say about it. Report data can be filtered, grouped and displayed graphically as a chart. So So the data of the report can be filtered, it can be grouped. Grouping is what we were talking about, summarizing the data. And it can also be displayed graphically as a chart. So these are the things which can be done with the report. Reports are stored in folders. So these reports are always stored in folders, which control who has access. Okay, so reports are stored in folders, and the folders will control who has access to the report and not. So basically, whenever we are creating report is also something we would want to control the access. Everyone should not get to see all the reports in the organization, right? Pretty much logical. Everyone should not have access to all the reports. So that is where this folder concept comes. You cannot define access of the users directly to the report. So for every report, you do not go and define the access to the users. What do you have to do? You have to kind of create a folder, put the reports in the folder, and the access will be defined for the folder, not for the report, right? So based on your access to the folder, you will get to see all the reports inside that folder. So that is how it is, right? So reports are stored in folders which control who has access. Okay. So building a new report. While you build a new report, when you try to create a report. So before I get into that, building a new report, okay. You always do not have to build a new report. Salesforce by default provides certain standard reports which are already there. You can always use them. And you also have the option of creating custom reports. So like all other things in Salesforce, reports have also the same concept. Some reports they provide by default and they have given the reports there. Those are the standard reports. You can always go ahead and customize them, or you can build your custom report right from the scratch. So here are a few things which are required to create a report. First thing that you will need to create a report is a report type. Fine. The first thing required for creating a report is a report type. What is a report type? A report type is a set of rules that determine which records and fields appear in a report. Okay. So this report type basically defines or determines which records and fields appear in a report. So this is the report type thing. Report type basically is where you define which fields or which objects will be included in the report. So I have let's say 20 objects. Now report type will decide which all objects will be included in the report. Do I create a report of accounts or opportunities or leads, or I want to create a report where I want data from account and opportunity, both the objects. So that entire stuff will depend on report type, right? Which objects you want to create the report for, and eventually once you select the object, fields depend on the same thing, right? Then choose a report format. So first you have to choose a report type, you have to choose a report format, right? What is a report format? Report format, there are a few report formats which are available in Salesforce, like tabular, summary, matrix, and joint format. So how do you want the report to be displayed? Okay, so what format of the report do you want the data to be grouped in some format or not? That is what a report format is. There are 4 of them available, and then you just create a report. So you can either take an existing report and clone it, or you can create a new report. So that is what I was saying, that if you want, you can take a standard report and then work on it, and the other option that you have is you can just create a new report. Okay, creating a custom report. So custom report is what we are going to create. So let me start creating the report. Let me show you an example of it. Alright, So to create a report, first thing you have to do is go to the reports tab. Click on the report tab, go to new report, and then select the report type. Okay, so this is what we talked about, report type. In report type, basically select which objects you need in the report. Okay, accounts, contacts, opportunities, what objects you need in the report. Do you need to create a report for opportunities, or you need to create a report for accounts or contacts and accounts? So for now, let's take accounts. You have to create a report only for accounts. Fine. Now the moment you select the report type and click on create, you come to this report builder screen. So this is called the report builder screen. This is our report builder screen. There you are now, and this is where you have to create the report. Now, before you start creating a report, there are a few things that I would want to share. Okay, so when you start creating a report, you need to just remember a few things. One, fields to be included, filters to be put, format of the report, okay, field, filter, format, frequency of the report, and folder. Okay, so this is a 5F of reports, what I call it. So just remember these 5F. The moment you start creating a report, no matter what report you are creating, how complex it is, you just have to break your requirement into this 5F. Okay. First thing, think of on the report that you're going to create, what all fields of data is required by the person who will see the report. What all fields are required. So once you understand that part, second question you should have is, what all fields means? Like if I'm creating a report for account, so what fields from account? Like is industry required on the report? Is let's say the website required on the report? Is annual revenue required on the report? So what all fields of data is required on the report? Okay. Second part is filter. What filters are required on the report? So are we talking about all the data, or are we talking about the data from last month? Or are we just talking about data from last year? Are we talking about all industries, or we are talking about any particular industry? So the filter, what filters we have in that. Format, what format we want to display the report in. The 4 formats I showed you: tabular, summary, matrix, and joint report. So which format you want the report to be in. Frequency. Frequency is how frequently you need that report, you need to generate that report. Is it a one-time report, one-off thing, or is it something that your company will need every week? Is it something that your company will need every month, or is it a report which is done every quarter? So what is the frequency of that report? And what will be the folder of the report? So folder, basically we are talking, in the folder we are talking about who should have access to that report. Should it be a public report or a private report? Based on that you put it in a folder. That is what we earlier discussed, right? So whenever you are creating report, you just think of these 5 things. Your report, your reporting assignment that you receive will become very easy, and if you break it in this way, it becomes very easy. So let's get started. So first thing I talk about is the fields, right? Now what you will see here is, on this report builder screen, on the left hand side there are all the fields listed. All the fields are listed here in the left hand side. Okay. So this is where you will take the fields from. This is where you will change the filter or add the filters from. This is the place where you can change the formats, tabular, summary, matrix, joint, right? After the report is completed, then we will talk about the frequency and the folder thing. So that comes a little later. Alright. So by default there are a few fields which are here in the preview pane. So in the preview you can see a few fields already. If you don't want to see these fields, you can remove all of them, remove all columns. So these columns will be removed and you will have a fresh blank preview. So now you can add fields that you want to from here. First field that I need is the account name. Yes. So all the fields that you need, you just have to drag and bring it in this side. Second you need is annual revenue. Bring it here. Third one that I need is industry. Drag and bring it here. Number of employees. Yeah, these 4 things. Type also, let me check. So these 5 fields I have taken. Now the next thing, whether I want all the data or do I want to put a filter on that, right? So filter section comes here. Now while we start putting filter, the first thing that we need to understand is there is a filter which is a date field filter by default there. Okay, so even before you start putting filter, you just have to consider that a date field filter is already there, because most of the reporting, almost 90-95% of reporting or even more than that, are done with some date filter. So you do not do a report of all the data that you have in the system. You generally do a report of data of last few days or last month or something, right? So most of the times our date field filter is required. That is the reason why they have by default given a date field filter. Okay, so if you see the date field filter here, it's already talking about all the records where created date is from 11 September, right? So what you can do is, let me just clear this filter, make it all time. Okay, so the moment you make it all time, you see so many records here, right? See in the preview, all these records are visible now. Okay. Now, if I want to put some other filter, let's say I just want all the records where industry is not blank. Industry should have a value. So I'll just go to add filter and say field filter. Add field filter. Industry not equals blank. See. So I have filtered the data in this way. Only the records of the industry is not blank. There is some value to industry. Alright. Now out of these I want to filter out, I want to put one more filter. Industry not equals blank and type not equal, type equals customer direct. So in type we have written customer channel. I want to just filter the data where type is customer direct. Click on add field filter. Type equals customer direct. Got this? So this is how it is. This is how it works. So two filters we have put. Now while you have put two filters, when you are putting two conditions here, industry not equals to blank and type equals customer direct. Now the logic that we have here is AND. We have an AND logic here. Okay. If I want to put an OR logic here, show me all the data where either this or this criteria, one of these criteria is meeting. That can also be the requirement. Then you already have to filter criteria. You just have to go and put a logic. So just go to filters, add filter logic. The second option, filter logic. Put a filter logic. The moment you say add filter logic, it assigns a number to each filter that you have put, and it gives you a filter logic statement that you can write. Currently it is 1 and 2. You have to make it 1 or 2. Okay. Clear? Okay. So that is the filter that we have put. We have got our data where either first first criteria is met, or either first criteria or the second criteria is met, right? So I put up OR logic here. All right. If you want to remove this logic, just remove it. If you remove it, by default it takes an AND logic. All right. Okay. Next thing what you can do is you can also put a cross filter here. What is this cross filter? Putting a filter on the related object. So any related object, you can put a filter on that particular object as well. For example, if you just want to include the accounts where there is an opportunity. So a cross filter, you just want to check whether that account has an opportunity or not. or you can go and see if that account has an opportunity which is more than a certain amount or not. For example, you just trying to do a big conference and you want to invite your big clients, right? So you just want to pull out a report where you have an opportunity which is at least more than $200,000. So you consider them as big clients and you are trying to invite them only, right, for that seminar or conference, whatever you are doing. So that way, so that cross filter can be put here. So how will we put the cross filter? The moment you say add cross filter, this cross filter will come here. You can put the cross filter here by saying accounts with opportunities. Okay. Now, do you only want to include accounts with opportunity, which means opportunity of any size, or you also want to be a little more specific in which opportunity, what size and all? So that is also something which can be done. Amount greater than 500,000. Okay. Or 200,000. So only the records where you have a valid opportunity which has an amount more than 200,000, those opportunities should be, those accounts should be visible. So these are the only 3 accounts where we have a, you have to have opportunity of minimum 200,000, right? So this is how your reports can be done. All right. Now there is one more thing which we can put here, which is called a row limit. Okay. So sometimes what happens, you might want to find out the top 5 or top 10 records, right? So that is something which can be done through row limit. For example, now I am getting 3 results out of this. You just want to find out only 2. So you can just say row limit here and say I just want to see 2 rows of data. I'm talking about 2 rows because in my list there are only 3. You might be required to figure out the top 10 or top 5 kind of thing. So top 10 sorted by based on the annual revenue. Let's say top 2 based on annual revenue, descending order. Okay. See, these are the top 2 based on annual revenue, descending order. So one thing that you have to understand is this preview section always does not give the correct information. So what you see here is not the right data. It creates some type of preview, but you cannot rely on this preview data. Actual data you will get only once you click on run report. A lot of times preview data is also correct. I'm not saying it's not correct, but it does not do all calculations every time. So do not rely on the preview data. Fine. Before you take any decision, before you do anything, please click on run report. So run report will show you the actual report. See, here United Oil and Gas is the actual biggest organization based on annual revenue. However, your preview section does not show that. For your preview section, Grand Hotels is the biggest one. So that is how it is, right? So this is something that you always need to keep in mind, that we cannot rely on the data which is being displayed on the preview. It's just for you to get some idea of how your report is going to look and all. And based on this, you cannot decide, you cannot take a call. Alright. So that is the thing. Reports, how to create reports with fields and filters we have understood. Now the next thing that we are going to get into is the format of the report. Okay. So before I can go into the format, let me just remove these things. All right. So I have removed all the filters. Now we'll go and change the format of the report. So changing the format of the report is pretty simple. You just have to go and change it. But we have to understand why would we change the format. So let's say for this example, you have accounts from different industries, and then you have certain number of employees attached to each account, right? Let's say you want a sum of employees by industry. You want to group all the records of an industry and see a sum of employees there. Or if you ask me a question that how many accounts from each industry do I have, or how much revenue from each industry do we generate? So this is something which cannot be answered through this report. For this we have to do a summary of the report. So the second part of it. Just go to report format and change it to summary format. Okay. So the moment you change it to the summary format report, you will see this area where it says drop a field here to create a grouping. So this drop field area comes up here. You have to select the field using which you want to do the grouping. So I want to use the industry field for doing the grouping. So drag the industry field, put it here. Okay. Let it be as it is, no problem. Now the grouping has been done using the industry field. What value do you want to summarize for that? I want to summarize, say, annual revenue. So just go to the annual revenue field, click on this and say summarize this field and make it a sum. Click on apply. Okay, so this will give sum of annual revenue by industry. Let's say I want to do the same thing for employees also. So you just have to go to employees field, click on summarize this field, make it a sum and click on apply. Done. So a report is ready. So for each industry, let's say apparel industry, there is one record, total number of employees 9,000, total annual revenue. So for each industry we have this thing, right? Now along with the summary, it also shows me the details, record name and details of the record. In case you don't want to see the details because it makes the report a little longer, you can just go to show option here, click on this and remove details. And also remove this drop zone because we don't want to drop any more fields. So remove the drop zone. Here is your summary report. Which industry, how many accounts you have? Energy industry, you have 3 accounts. For all other industries, we have just 1 record. So which industry, how many records? What is the total number of employees that we have for that, and what is the total revenue for it? So this is what we have here. Clear? So this is how you create a summary report. Alright. Now before we move into the matrix format, let's go and save this report. So how will you save this report? Click on save. Okay. When you try to save this report, it asks you for the folder. I told you that it will, you always have to save it in the folder. So by default, it asks you whether you want to save it in a public folder or a personal folder. Let me save it in public folder. So these are the folders which are by default there. You just click on save, and your report is done and it's saved in the folder. Okay. So this summary report is done. Now let's go into the matrix report, matrix format. Now matrix format report, you just have to go and change the format. Sorry, change the format. Basically in a matrix format, it's more like a summary, but in a matrix format, you will have the option of summarizing the data on both the axes. So you can summarize the data on this axis as well as this axis. So that is how it works. So let's see how that can be done. The moment you change the format to a matrix format, you will see you have two drop zones, one vertically, the other one horizontally, right? Now, I was just giving you an example before we started designing the report. I gave you an example that if Samsung wants to understand how are they performing in India, so they might want to do a report and find out which product they sold and in which city, how many mobiles did they sell. So these are two things, right? Like which city, how many mobiles they sold, and the other thing is which model they sold. How many models of how many pieces of which model they sold in last 1 month or 3 months, whatever is the time frame for which they are doing the analysis. Now the other report that they might want to generate is that in which city which model is selling more, right? Cross filter kind of thing. That okay, overall in India which model is selling, that's fine. Overall in India which city what product is selling, that's fine. Now I want to do a report in which city which model is selling more, right? So for that you have to go and do this kind of a reporting, alright, matrix report, the format. So here you have the option of putting two filters, two drop zones or two grouping criteria. So one is already there because while creating my summary report I defined industry here. Let me put the type criteria here. So I want to understand which industry, which type, what is the total number of employees and revenue. So you can drag the type field from here and drop it here. Okay. Now see, for apparel industry customer direct, this is the annual revenue, and for apparel industry customer channel, this is the revenue. So this is how it is. Got it? Now you can quickly go and remove the drop zones because it's not required, and also go and remove the record count. That's fine. Now here it is. So here is your matrix format report. Summary was only this part. Matrix also has this thing. Fine. Let me go ahead and save this report as well. Go and save.
Got this thing clear on it? So we have created three different formats. We have seen how to include fields in the report, how to put filters in the report, and we have also done all three formats of the reports, right? So we are clear on that part. Now let us go and okay, so I've done that part. Now let's go and save this report. So saving is also done. Now let us understand what can we do with the reports. Okay, the report that we have created, what do we do with it? There is another format of the report, joint format. I will come to that one a little later. So that joint format thing I will come a little later. We'll talk about that. But before that, let's understand what can we do with the report. So once you have created the report, you can either save the report as I am saving. Why will we save the report? For future use. You can create a report, save it so that you can use it again and again whenever you want. Second thing that you can do is you can export the report, export the data from the report, take it out in an Excel or a CSV format. You can print this report. So this report can be printed, that is one thing. So the report can be saved, it can be exported, it can be printed, or it can be scheduled. What is the scheduling of the report? You can define a frequency and you can define a schedule for the report, and the same report can be sent as per the schedule to some recipient. For example, there is a report you want to generate every month and send it to your manager. So that thing can be automated in Salesforce. So that is a good advantage of Salesforce. All right. So the moment you have created the report, you can just click on run report to do any of those. So as I told you, export option you have, print option you have, delete you can do, save and save as we have already seen. Customize will take you back to the same screen. Show details will actually show the details of the records. So do you want to see each and every record with details? So ideally we do not want to see that, so let's hide details. Okay, and then run report. So run report, where we are talking about, we have two options, run report now or schedule future runs. Scheduling future run is the scheduling that I was talking about. Okay, so when you click on schedule future runs, it will ask you to define a frequency. Okay, and based on that frequency, this report can be sent to some recipient, right? So like send it to me. Let's say it's a monthly report. On day 1 of every month, you want to receive this report in your email. So this scheduling, if you save this report schedule, 1st of every month you will continue to receive this report. Alright, you can send it to others as well. So you can say to me and others. But right now this option is not available to us because we just have one user. So if you have more users, you can send it to others as well. Okay. Then select on weekly or daily, whatever frequency you have, start date, end date, and what is your preferred time for this report. What time this report should be sent. 1 PM, 4 PM, 7 PM, 3 options we have. I mean, for developer edition we have just these 3 options, but if you create this thing, if you is an actual license, at that time you will have all the options available. So all 24 hours options will be available, right? So then you can just go ahead and click on save report schedule. That's it. That is the only thing that you have to do. Alright. So this is what we can report. So we can save the report, we can export, print or schedule it. So this is what can be done with the report, what you have created. Clear? Questions on this? This is simple to understand. Alright. So now we will get into report type. So the next thing that we are going to talk about is a report type. Just give me a moment. Alright. So the next thing that we will talk about is report type. So we have seen how we use a report type. We already have some report types, right? The moment you start creating a report, it asks you to pick a report type. Click on your report, it asks you to select a report type. Here it is, right? So you have to pick a report type. Now, what if the report type which you want to select is not available here? If you want to have your own custom report type, right? For example, accounts and opportunities. If you see accounts and opportunity is a report type which is not available here. It's not available under accounts. It's not even available under opportunities. Now, how do I create a report type for that? How do I pick my choice of objects and put them into one report type, right? So that is what we are actually going to learn. We will learn how to create a report type, and then using that report type, how to create a report, right? So that is what we will do now. Okay, so we'll start with creating a report type. Yeah, you there? See my screen now? Alright, to create a report type, you just need to go to the setup menu, and from setup you will need to go to create, and under create there is an option of report types, right? So we are talking about creating our own report type now. So we'll go to setup, create report types, click on continue. Say new custom report type. Okay. Now this is where you have to select the objects which you want to include in your report type. So primary object that we talked about this, that we are trying to create a report type of accounts and opportunities, right? So accounts is going to be my primary object because that's the parent object. Now one thing which we have to understand, whenever you want to create your own report type, you can only create a report type which with the objects which are related. So you cannot say that I will use two objects in the same report and these objects are not related. If they are not related, you cannot create a report combining both of them, right? So you always have to make sure that these two objects are related. So account and opportunity, they are related, we know that, right? So primary object will be the parent of those. So account is the parent, that's fine. I call this report type as accounts, and opportunities description is here. This report type used for creating let's say this. Which category you want to store it in? I'll put it in opportunities category. Okay. Make it deployed. Deployed will mean that it's available for use. So click on next. Now select the other object. Account is already there. We selected it as a primary object. Next object is opportunity. So click on this and select opportunity. Here it is. All right. Now while you're connecting these two records, so what kind of a relationship you want in the report? Do you want all the records where all the A records or all the accounts where there is an opportunity, those should be included, or you want to include all A records irrespective of their opportunity is there or not, right? So that is what we have to see here. Do you want all records from the primary object, okay, or you want only the records from the primary object where there is one opportunity, at least one, minimum one opportunity, right? So that is something that you have to decide. You can continue to add more objects here. I'm not adding more. You can continue to add, and maximum you can have till 4 objects in one report type. Okay, so 4 is the maximum which is allowed. We do not have other objects to be added here, so I'm just creating it for account and opportunity.
So
these 2 objects we have selected. I click on save. So my report type is ready. So you have created a report type. Now what will your report type have? It will have 57 fields from account and 35 fields from opportunities. Alright. So overall 92 fields this report type will have. So in that, if you select this report type for creating report, on the left hand side you will find these 92 fields. Okay, so all account fields as well as all opportunity fields. So my report type is ready. We are ready to create a report using this report type. Just go to reports, click on new report, select your report type that you have created just now. So where did you save this report type? Under opportunities category. So you see accounts and opportunity report type is there. The description that you put comes here. Go ahead and click on create. Now you will get the report type and that 92 fields. See, all account fields are there and then all opportunity fields are there. 35 fields from opportunities. You can create a report using them now. Simply. So this is how it works. This is how our report types creation works. So we already saw the first example that we created. We took an account report type and we saw that we already have accounts and contacts and some other reports types by default available there. But in case you want a report type of your choice, then you should go ahead and do it. Or if you have custom objects and you want to create a report type for the custom object, you can always do this. Clear? Okay. So this part is fine. Or sometimes it may happen that let's say you already have a report type existing. For example, if you have one for accounts and contacts or accounts and opportunities, in case you already have that, which you do not have right now. But if you even have that by default, and that report type shows you all the accounts which do not have opportunities, then while creating that report, what you have to do, you always have to go to that cross filter and say show accounts without, with opportunities. You always have to put that cross filter. If your most of the requirements are on these lines that you just want to include accounts where there is some opportunity, then you can always create this report type. So in the report type, what you are doing, you are at the initial stage itself excluding the accounts where there is no opportunity. So that is what we did just now. So all the accounts which are available here, you will see that they have at least one opportunity available with them. So that would again, make things easier for you. Instead of every time you are creating a report, instead of putting that cross filter, you can just create a report type and it will ease out the process for you for all the times when you create that report. Correct? So that's about my report type. We have successfully created a report type. The next thing that we will do is create a joint report. Now what is a joint report? A joint report is a report which can accommodate two different report types in the same report. Okay. So if I have to bring two different report types. Now this is a report type of accounts and opportunities, right? So you have account and opportunity data here. Let's say for opportunities I have amount, right? And I have expected revenue. Now I create a summary report out of this. And I summarize based on account name. Remove details and what do I want to summarize? The expected revenue and an amount. Alright, I remove details and remove the drop zones. So this is a summary report that I have done. By account, I have got the amount and expected revenue, right? So far it's good. Now the company wants me to, along with this, for each account I have the total amount and expected revenue. Now my company asks me that along with this, parallel to this, we also want to see how many contacts do we have for each of these accounts. How many contacts do we have corresponding to each of the account. Now how do I create that? Because contact field is not here. For contacts we need a different report type. Account and contacts is a different report type, right? So that cannot be brought into this report. And the company also wants me to bring in how many cases do we have for each of these accounts. Now cases is also a different report. It's not also a part of this report type or this report. In that case, what you will do, in that case you can simply go ahead and make it a joint report, because I will need a different report type. So I would So what I will need to do here is I will need to make it a joint report. So change the format into joint format. The moment you convert the format into a joint format, you will see that this report has become a block 1 of the report. It by default gives it a block name block 1. The other report type that we bring will get added as a block 2. So how do you get add the other report type? The moment you change the format into joint format, you will see add report type option here active. Just click on add report type. You want a report of contacts and accounts? Okay, select this report type. Okay, that will get added as block 2 of the report. See, the second report also got added. For second report, you will see that there is another set of filters here. So this is for block 1. So same thing. Your filters, the way you have filter option for block 1, same way you have filter option for block 2. Make it all time. See how many records against each account. United Oil and Gas Corp, we have 4 records. Okay. Now, if you want another report for cases, how many cases do we have corresponding to each account? Again, go ahead and add a report type. It should be customer support reports, report of cases. That will get added as block 3. So for block 3 again we have this filter. So let me go and make it filter. Yes, it's all time. Alright, so do you see this? The first report is for accounts and opportunities, the second for accounts and contacts, third one is for cases. Complete report comes in here. So this way you can have 5 blocks of report. Block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4 and block 5. So till block 5 you can go this way. Alright. Is that okay? Please let me know. Joint report, any difficulty in understanding this? It's very simple actually. The only thing that you have to do is, just give me a moment. The only thing that you have to do for creating a joint report is you have to understand the report type concept pretty well. So report type is what we are including, and then multiple report types. It's like bringing multiple reports together. Now see, accounts and opportunities is the first report type. You have fields for that. Contacts and accounts is the second report type. You have fields for that. Cases is the third report type. You have fields for that. And moreover, you have the common fields. So account is the common object in all of them, and these are the common fields. So that's how it is. Yeah.
No, I just had a question that somewhere I read that if you are adding blocks, you just need one common object while adding them. So when you added the third block for the cases, don't you need anything in common?
The cases
you just took accounts.
Cases also have an account, right? Case is a child of account.
Yes.
So that cases record type that you see, it is called cases, but it has account information as well.
Okay, so basically you need something as common, right?
That has to be there, right? So there has to be an access, right? So everything is being built. So here I am considering the account name as common thing, and everything is being built around that. So if I do not have a common thing, I cannot build this thing, right? Okay, so this is about my joint format. Now, joint report is something which you will need, one-off situation you will need it, but it's not something which you will use very frequently. Summary and metrics is something that you will use very frequently. Tabular is again not required that much. Tabular report is required only if you have to take out the data extract. For example, you have to send email invitations to some people and you just want to take out all the emails of people who have responded yes. So that kind of situation you want to take out a data extract or something. That is where your tabular report is required. Summary metrics being the most popular ones or the most common ones. You will use them every day. And joint report is, sometimes you will need it. Maybe, when you are trying to create a report at the end of the year, doing reporting for the entire year and, want to have a good kind of analysis being displayed and all that, there you might need it. Fine. Okay, so the next thing that we will move into is our dashboards. So we have understood how to create reports, we have understood the different formats, fields, filters. So all 5F we are able to do now. Fine. Fields, filters, for format, frequency, folder, we know how to save it in folder and everything. Then what we can do with the report, we are able to do all these things. So now let's move into the dashboard part. Let's talk about dashboard. Now, what is your thought of dashboard? What do you think a dashboard is? Anyone? No one? Okay. So dashboard is basically, if I have to explain it in very simple words, it's a collection of reports. Okay. So if you have multiple reports and in case you have to present those reports on the same screen, on a single screen, you need a dashboard, right? So if you have a sales report, if you have a sales pipeline, and then if you have customer support report, and if you have a HR report, and you want to present all them in a single screen, that is where you can use dashboard. Now, because we are talking about the multiple reports being displayed on the same screen parallelly, we cannot just display the data points. We cannot have a table kind of a report there, because then the viewer of the dashboard will not understand, will not be able to make out anything. For example, let's take an example. I'm pretty sure you watch cricket matches. So when you watch these matches, sometimes they show some reports, right? How the bowling performance has been, or how team A batted, how their score was, and how team B batted, how their score was. So that's also that sort of comparisons or different things they will try to show. Small charts, 3-4 charts they show on one single screen. So in case, think of it, if they just put numbers instead of those graphs, then what will happen? Then we will not understand anything, because dashboard, the challenge is that we want to look into the trends and find out. We want to look into the graphics and try to figure out what is happening, right? If you have to look into 3 or 4 reports at one time, then graphics is the actual thing which can help you, understand how your sales is performing, how your customer support team is performing. Both the things, if you have to look at once, then graphic is the best way to look into that, so that you can quickly make out that, okay, fine, the sales is doing good or not. Fine. So that is where you might not be that much interested in numbers, or you might not want a tabular format of the report. So dashboard is where we will deal more with charts and graphs. Okay. So dashboard help you visualize complex information. So if you have complex information, that is what I was talking about. If you have 2-3 different reports at one place which you have to see, the dashboard helps you visualize that and see that. Dashboards help you make decisions based on real-time data. So you can actually make decisions based on real-time data you have gathered with reports. So all the data that you have gathered with reports, you can create dashboards using the dashboard option that we have in Salesforce. Use dashboards to help user identify trends, sort out quantities, and measure the impact of their activities. So dashboards can be used to basically identify trends and understand how the data is moving, or how different teams or different departments are performing and all. So that is what we have in dashboard. So let's go and understand this a little more, or let's go and try creating a dashboard rather. See how we can create a dashboard. So for creating a dashboard, you again have to go to your reports tab. Though there is a dashboard tab also available, but you do not go to dashboard tab for creating it. You always go to the reports tab. So go to your reports tab, click on new dashboard. So for creating a report, you click on new report. For creating a dashboard, you will click on new dashboard. Okay, we have selected new dashboard, and then in the dashboard there are two things that you deal with usually. Components of the dashboard and the data source. So this data source will always come from reports. Okay, so dashboard data source always comes from the reports that you have created, right? And components are these different graphic components, the graphs or the charts, all right? And you have three columns of dashboard. So I told you, right, you can display multiple reports. So you have three columns available here. Let's say this is the first column, this is the second one, this is so you multiple reports you can bring into the dashboard. So three reports we have got. You can bring in more reports, one below the other one. This way you can have 20 reports in one dashboard. So you can have 20 in one dashboard, but 3 in one column. So 3 is the maximum that you can have in a column. Okay, so this part is done. Now you just have to include the data sources here. So go to the reports, bring in the data sources. I will use the data reports that I created. Let's say 3 different types of reports. So you can create your, bring in the data sources. So whatever you want to show in dashboard is just creating a chart out of the report. The actual thing lies in the report, right? So you have to make sure that the report that you're creating, you're very good in creating reports. Because dashboard, you see, it's a matter of 5 minutes. There's nothing that you have to do. You just have to select the right chart type and you just have to bring the dashboard. Now, how good report you have generated or created, that will make the dashboard more efficient. Clear on this part? So we created a dashboard. Now once you've created a dashboard, same thing you can do with the dashboard. You can save the dashboard. All right. So now you have saved the dashboard. That's done. Now the next thing that we can do is, whenever you want to see this dashboard, I mean when I say you, I mean the person who you have created the dashboard for. The person wants to see the dashboard, you can go to the dashboard tab and have a look onto it. So if you have multiple dashboards, you can just select the one that you want to see. Right now I just have one. If I have multiple, I can select the one that I want to see and I can see the dashboard. Okay, so that which dashboard we are talking about, and then you can simply look into the dashboard anytime, right? So the advantage with dashboard is, one, it can bring in multiple reports on the same screen. Second advantage, that it gives you a graphic representation which makes things easier for you to understand. So you can quickly look into the trends, right? Another big advantage for a dashboard is that it is available anytime, right? So any user, I mean someone who is not who is not aware of how to use reports and take export of the report and all those things, the management people or the sales people, they can quickly look into this and understand the trends and everything. Second good thing is that this is available every time. For reports, the best option that we could see for the report was scheduling of the report. But scheduling also has a defined frequency. So if you receive it first of every month, so that is something that you will receive only on first of the month. So you cannot go and see it for this for today. So if it has to come on first of month, either you look into the previous month's data or wait for the next month's report to come to you, right? But this dashboard allows you to log in anytime, just go and see. So it can show you the recent thing as well, today's reports as well. So that is the advantage with the dashboard, that the decision makers can actually look into it any point of time, whenever they want, right? So tell me, are we clear on the dashboard thing? Let me know if you have any questions on the dashboard. Simple, easy. Okay.